Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. This is Doc Mountain. If you've had so many questions about W coin that you've always wanted some person to answer, yet you haven't had an opportunity of finding the person that can answer those questions, well, it's high time that you had those questions answered. And it's not me who's going to be answering those questions, but you'll be getting the answers from the horse's mouth, from the founder of W coin. I'm pretty sure you missed the AMA Ask Me Anything session, which actually took place on Twitter. So I am bringing all that discussion which boiled down there to you so that you happen to be acquainted. Okay, so without any further ado, let's take it
slowly. It's starting over here now. Jumping from space to space. Glad to have you up here, Orange PFP guy. W coin, I've sent you guys a request to join as well, please. I hope everyone can hear me. I know jumping from space to space on X can sometimes be annoying, but all good, all good. We are here. Brilliant. As you're reacting with an orange heart, I presume everything is good. W coin, how are you doing today? Welcome, welcome.
Hey guys, how are you doing? Do you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you quite well.
Perfect.
Yeah, GM, we can hear you all right. Welcome in everybody. Thank you for joining us. Give it a minute. Make sure to share the space at the bottom right corner. And also, if you got a questions, drop them either in the bottom right corner or in the tweet that pinned at the top. Choose the place that you like the most. And Vcoin, happy to have you here. So, wait a second, Zenith sending me a co-host invite. So before we
I was
start,
going to say, is it Vcoin or is it W coin?
Yeah,
it's actually W coin. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought. It's alright. Don't worry. It's it's English W. Two V's to, I always, I'm gonna say this. I always thought, that the actual letter W is just two V's, but it says W, not double V. I always found that funny in the English language. I don't know why they do that, but it is what it is. Yeah, how are you doing today, Double Coin?
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me here today. Hope that we will be able to share some interesting information with you, some plans, rumors, like whatever community would like to hear.
I mean, you've been building for quite a while. People been playing the game and many been curious when you gotta drop, what you gotta do, and all the little details. But before we go into the discussion tonight, I think it's best if we introduce ourselves to the public. First of all, with me here, I have Zenith, who is hosting the room from Ton Society. My name is Victor. I'm the Orange PFP guy, just a global community lead at Ton Society. And we've got the W coin with us for the long-awaited email. So before we get started, I think it's best, W coin, if you introduce yourself, who's behind the profile, and what is the W coin in the first place?
Thank you, guys. So basically, my name is Johnny. I'm co-founder of W coin. I'm here with you today to answer all the questions. It's fun how much time it took us to arrange this session. So about our product is as we're like not coin inspired tap to earn application on Telegram, which started as our like tech investigation on some new cool technology that dropped on Telegram and just became such a great and huge product with huge community. So yeah.
So you got inspired by the Notcoin, and which is pretty understandable. And yeah, their success, it's massive. And up to this day, people are trying to replicate the process, trying to build their own Telegram mini apps, many expanding to completely new directions. I wanted to ask you as well, for how long has your Telegram mini app been already existing? First of all, how many months has it been for people to be able to farm the tokens, to farm the airdrop?
Since spring, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell because it's already more than 6 months past. and I think we're like one of the first apps. So we basically started even before Notcoin finished. So yeah, we're pretty long time on the market compared to other apps.
Yeah, that's been quite a while. And what have made you wait for this long period of time? And how's the community response? Are they excited? Are they waiting for what's gonna come next? Or what is their sentiment?
Great question, but do you ask about why it took us so long to come to MA session with you, or about
not the MA
lifetime?
session, but about the token launch and the Telegram mini app? Because I remember you mentioned the snapshot, and we're gonna get to that a moment later. You shared that the snapshot is gonna be taking place soon. So yeah, why did you decide to go with such a long period for people playing? And how's the community sentiment? Do they still enjoy the game? Do they constantly engage on the daily, weekly, monthly basis? How's the community sentiment? And yeah, why did you decide?
So it's basically it's like it's all natural. I mean, we didn't have a plan that we're going to run this project for n number of months, and then we go for listing. So as it started, very rapid, very spontaneous, and community started to grow, we had to react. And as you can remember, that's also like a reason why it took us so long to come for a session with you, because the key feature of our project was that our community decided on which blockchain they want TGE to happen. So, and it took some time for our community to grow enough and to decide, and our community chosen tone. So that's the first reason. And we also really careful now looking at other projects that go in for listing, because as Notcoin inspired us at the beginning, because they built something relatively simple, but it's blown up into something bigger. That's why we keep this inspiration till now, because looking at Notcoin and looking at other applications, there is a huge gap between them, because what Notcoin has, it's that they actually gave their community an ability to earn, and they stayed even without telling on publicly their future plans. They stayed with a huge trust from their community, and that is something that we aimed for, because making profit here and there will bring us into the same condition as other projects live in now, and that's not actually what we want to do with such a strong community and such a strong trust from them. Answering the part of your question about why it took so long, because it's the building of this application is not that it was built in before we started and stays the same all the way. It's like a dialogue between us and our community. So we give them something, and we see the reaction. We see what is working well, what is not working, what can be improved, and we constantly improve in that. We see what is the reaction for some mechanics that already existed, and we try to add other new mechanics that can be fresh for game. And it's actually the straight result of that is that we still growing, and that's the reason why we keep doing what we do, and we really want our community not to be disappointed eventually.
Interesting. That's definitely a very, very good point. To not be disappointed, because I know that the community has been, sharing points about disappointment recently in the last I guess in the last month, right? So you did say that you guys were looking at what the community sentiment is and what it is that, that they are wanting. So is there anything, so what is it that you've introduced that you think the community is going to be quite happy about, if you can share?
So yeah, what we do now, and it also takes a lot of time, is that we're doing a huge analysis on different strategies that we can apply for TGE. It depends on, like, we don't want just to announce that, okay guys, now TGE and we go for stage 2. What is stage 2? Why community should trust us? So it's million of ways how we can perform TGE, and we have already a few solid strategies how we can perform it. And currently the focus for us is to do anything we can before TGE to make our community to profit as much as possible from the TGE. So we keep this trust, and then when we decide to go for stage 2, we already will have a strong community support. And also, like, the closest step is the snapshot that we're doing. So basically that's the part of the analysis that we're doing. So in our application, we do not only analyze the people balance. There are a lot of mechanics in our game that allow people to be engaged in different ways within application. So our analysis is following that we try to consider multiple factors. So we're trying to consider both how long people already with us and how active are they. So the main idea is that as long as our project is already half a year on the market, we want it to be equally open and profitable for people who joined half a year ago and people joining now. So that's let's say that's a huge mathematical formula that will count all the activity that our users doing on the platform, and snapshot is something that will allow us to capture that, and then will allow us to compare users' activity on before snapshot and after.
Oh, well, that's interesting. So are you looking into user activity before the snapshot and after to see? That's also very, very interesting. And yeah, what you've mentioned is you've also been analyzing other projects, TGEs as well, and how they do it. So I know that you guys have been going for quite a while. As you said, you guys started, even when Notcoin was going right before their TGE, which is what, like four or 5 months ago now. That's definitely been a while. And with that, I think, yes, people may be annoyed, in the community that you guys have been going for so long, but I think they're looking at it in this way. That's advantageous for you because you get to watch other TGEs happen and analyze how well they've done based on what type of strategies they've used for the TGE, and then that you can probably understand it and also be able to strategize how you can do your TGE to so it's better for the community. Well, I would like to hope that that is definitely one thing you're doing, and I think that's what you said earlier. So you probably are. But when it comes to let's say after the TGE, what is there any more plans? Is there a roadmap that you're going to follow, or is it something you don't want to release? Or is Victor going to ask a question a little bit before that one? Victor?
Yeah. I think let's circle back for a second before we go into the plans. What's going to be after the TGE and everything. Firstly, I wanted to know a little bit more about the mechanic of the community vault on which chain you should launch, because I think it's very fascinating technology, as you mentioned. It also took you time to get there. So would you mind sharing with us the mechanics of how did that happen?
Do you mean how that voting in our community happened?
Yeah, exactly. For which chain you should be launching.
Yeah. So the first thing that was implemented since the beginning of the project, it was a simple task as in many other applications, that the first part was to both provide us with some data and also to engage people with some feeling of unknown what is going to happen. So it was the simple page in our application that allow you to select in the drop down menu which blockchain you want to project to be listed on. So that was the first step, and that's how we collected this data. In the second, it was the poll in our community channel when it's grown enough to be able to collect some significant data.
Okay, this is pretty dope. Thank you for sharing that. And also, you've mentioned that for the like everything pretty much you mentioned before, I've been tweeting. So I've tweeted that your Telegram mini app was launched when the Notcoin farming was still ongoing. And then I've also tweeted that your current focus is to ensure community will be able to earn going forward from your TGE. Also tweeted for the TGE allocation that you consider how long people are with you and how active they are, and that you want to be equally open for people who joined either 6 months ago or just recently. Tweeted all of that, so just to share as well. And I was wondering also, I think it's an important piece of data. First of all, how many like different blockchains like were at the list when the community was voting which one you should go with, and how many in the percentage wise has voted for Ton, if you still have this data somewhere accessible to you right now?
Yeah, I just texted guys from my team to check the statistics, and as far as they will answer, I can share with you.
Okay, let's circle back to it later. And also, I was wondering, how many total users have your Telegram mini app got, and how many monthly active users do you have as of right now?
Yeah, so basically our app got 36 million users registered, and currently we have around 18 million monthly active users. It's a bit jumping higher and lower depending on the news we do. When we announce that we're going to do snapshot, that's immediately like the jump in activity. When we announce some campaigns, that's also jump in activity. And also, which is interesting, we see also the most active times of the day when people playing, and also most active times of the week. So it's basically every weekend is a crazy time, and almost every evening. And it was more significant difference, I would say, 2 months ago. But now I see, like, looking at our metrics, that we have almost constant activity 24/7. So it means that a lot of people from different time zones just constantly playing.
And your game is also a tapping game, right? So the people have to tap. Or what is like the main mechanic of the game itself?
So basically, we have multiple mechanics in the game. Let's just jump to your previous question regarding percentage. I just got this data. So basically, 68% of our users voted for Ton, 24% voted for Solana, and 8% voted for Ethereum. So 68%, it's huge win for Ton in that. So that's regarding numbers. And regarding game mechanics that you asked about, so basically we have multiple mechanics in game, and we still analyzing what is more interesting for community. So of course we have a tap to earn mechanic that can be improved, boosted with the multiple boosters, which is more like arcade mechanic. We have also staking mechanic, which we haven't seen before we've done it. And the idea from our side to add this mechanic was to, instead of giving a game to people, to give something that can be applicable as a knowledge afterward. So it touches the concept of that we want crypto to be everywhere. So that's why we took such a familiar mechanic that as staking that you can see in different blockchain, and we basically also try to teach people how does it work. So other mechanic is that mostly like passive income mechanic, that we ran a separate currency as WAI, which is also casual currency, but it introduced completely different mechanics, how you instead of constantly having to tap, you running background jobs and then you collecting reward. And that's the next step of it. It will be how do we combine having those multiple currencies in our app, and that all will definitely be combined. So that's like a short teaser for you. Of course, it all will be collected into one bigger picture.
Okay, that is pretty interesting mechanics too. Well, I'm glad that you're utilizing something new and doing something differently as well. Speaking of which, and just making the technology of the Telegram mini app, because many people like that are building inside of Telegram a ton right now. They've got a massive gaming studios. And I was wondering, what is your team size? And how many people do you have on the team as well, developing the mini app itself?
So that's a great question, and it reminds me the Pavel Durov interview when he mentioned the size of Telegram team and mentioned the importance of efficiency over number of people. So that's exactly our strategy. So we basically 4 people only, and like 2 people responsible for technical part and 2 people responsible for administration, operations, and product part. So it's only 4 people. But I would say that the key of our progress and success here is how efficient we built our internal processes, and we don't need huge team here.
That is overall quite impressive, actually, with only 4 people being able to, build an app that's got over 37 million active users. That's crazy. That's really, really good. And I've seen bigger teams not being able to achieve anything near that. And it really does come down to efficiency. When you're able to have a good, efficient workflow within your team, and you all work really well together, I think a lot of things can be achieved. And I guess, as Pavel said so himself, it's very, very true. Victor, any more questions from you?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've got a lot. I still haven't got to the main ones. Wait,
I just don't want to skip the gun.
We're going there.
Because I know you're typing out breaking news. I know. That's why I thought I'd jump in a little bit.
Yes, and thank you for that. Yeah, I'm typing breaking news as we speak. So everybody, if you missed some part of the space, you want to see the most important highlights, go for my page or listen back today. It's a recorded space. Make sure you retweet it as well, share it with friends, let them know it's been happening so they actually could know all the information presented. This is incredible, and thank you for sharing with us WCoin onto your team and how they perform the tasks, and that you actually operating very efficiently. And indeed, you've been able to achieve a great user base with such small team. It's fascinating. So shout out to you for doing that. Then the next thing I wanted to ask you, actually, is about the upcoming airdrop and TGE. So first of all, you've mentioned that you're going to be having a snapshot. Would you mind sharing a little bit more about the snapshot and the purpose of it? And after that, I'm going to have a couple more questions regards to the TGE and the token and etc.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So as I mentioned before, we pay a lot of attention to data analysis while we're doing this project, and more than just analyzing how fast we're growing and what are the numbers in application and what are the numbers in monthly active user. But we have already a lot that happened in this application since it was launched. So and we have a lot of data here. And the idea of Snapshot is to try to analyze how it went to this date, how active our users been. Is activity only motivated by fact of snapshot, or how different activities impact like activity of our community on the platform. And the idea of snapshot is to also give us, when it comes with regular projects, when it comes to the end, what's in everything being analyzed. So basically it's mostly you take people balance, you analyze for the presence of fraud, you filter data, but then you take people balance and that's how airdrop is allocated. So our idea is to not to take this 1 point of the time and analyze this one, but take at least 2 points of the time, maybe more. So it can be that we will make another snapshot, but when you have 2 points of the time, it means that you have 2 states of data. Let's imagine people balance. Let's imagine how many tasks they've done, how many clicks they perform, how many people they connected to the application. So, but when you have 2 points in time, it means that you also you have an ability to analyze tendency within this time frame. So this is also important for us, not to measure that one simple number of balance, clicks, or whatever, but also measure how fast that number was growing and how active our community was. Okay. I hope that this answers the question.
Yeah, that is
not, and it doesn't sound very technical.
No, but that's okay. I understand you're trying different approaches, and the communities try to be most fair to the most active community members, which is interesting and great tendency to see. I'll not be typing breaking news of this segment, but I suggest someone clip it from this AMA session and just post it on the timeline later. Let me know, ping me up so I can share it too.
If you want to make it like a long story short, why we're doing that is because we want airdrop to be fair for everybody, not just for people who joined us half a year ago and just earned a lot of tokens because of time they played. We want it to be fair for everyone and to have everybody satisfied with the results of TGE.
Let's go. And now, speaking of the TGE and airdrop itself, when are you planning to be doing TGE and the airdrop? Community been asking this question a lot. Wait. Let me do one thing. Wait a second. So what?
Thank you for the great question. So basically, our plan is to do it Q4 this year. So it's basically very soon, and many factors that can impact that and make it happen quicker or wait a bit because we still work a lot with different exchanges to get as much as possible attention to the project. It's very important because we're all interested in successful TG, and it's a lot of work to make a good contact with the every exchange and everybody that can do a positive impact on TG. So, and it's less about when we want to make it happen, but more about when we able to make it happen, depending on all the actors related to this process. So, and TGE, it's always exchanges, partners, market makers. That's a lot of people who will participate in this process that a lot of people waiting for. So that's a bit of pressure of responsibility here, but we're working hard on that now.
I really like that answer because you're really telling people that you actually are trying to offer, have a really good TGE and have a really good airdrop for everyone. It makes a lot of sense, and it's understandable, that good things do take a while, and I understand that some people, maybe will be frustrated by the time, but, it really is the truth. Good things take a while, and it really looks like you guys are taking your airdrop's going to be really, really good. Can you still hear me? I just had connection problems apparently.
Yeah, you interrupted for a second, but now we hear you well.
My Wi-Fi decided to disconnect as always. But yeah, anyway. Any further questions? Because I feel like I jumped the gun a little bit too fast, Victor.
No, that's been good. I've been finishing typing the post. By the way, guys, I'm tweeting all of that to the timeline.
Perfect.
and speaking of the airdrop and TG, have you already thought over what is the percentage allocation going to go to the community and other entities? Have you already thought over your tokenomics and what are going to be?
Yeah, we actually think about that a lot. And it also depends not only on us and also on our partners, but we have multiple tokenomics that, of course, it will be public as long as we finalize it and agree with all partners. But what I can share with you, like top secret information from inside of the project, that it's mostly around 70% of tokens going to community.
Okay, awesome. Sorry, I had to jump on here because, as I was expecting, my internet did, for some reason, disconnect. Oh well, that's why I co-host. That's interesting. How did you come to decision for that number, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, that's basically our negotiation between us and us. So our idea is to build tokenomics on. So we know that there are a lot of different actors within tokenomics, and people or platforms or whatever whoever you should share this token with. And our negotiation is always, okay, how do we increase community allocation, and how do we still keep everybody happy who's involved in this tokenomics? So that's if we talk very short, that our main goal is to allocate as much as possible for community, and we do not even consider currently any allocation for the team, because as I mentioned, that's how we inspired by Notcoin, that building a trust here instead of having a profit is we see it as much more important than try for us to benefit here quickly and then lose trust from community. So our current plan is that we're not going to have any allocation for the team, and we negotiating for as big as possible percent for community.
That's really great to hear. So you're not actually taking anything for the team. That's very, very noble. We can definitely say that. And clearly, if it's work for Notcoin, I really hope it works out for you guys as well. Now, Victor, any further questions before I go back to my previous one?
Well, that is pretty good at this point, and thank you for sharing more insights with us. I've tweeted it all to the timeline, and yeah, I think now it's also important to ask. What I mean, I think you probably can't even disclose that, but what exchanges are you in conversations with? But I understand if you cannot even disclose that, or just say how many of them.
It will be hard. First of all, of course, I cannot disclose it until we have agreement, because it's not finalized. But it's easier to say that currently we have almost all of them.
Wow, that is quite a statement. That's really, really impressive, and I'll be really looking forward to that, actually, to see how that goes, to be able to have all of them and to be able to have all of the liquidity from them as well. Wow, that's really, really impressive.
Yeah, that's actually I think that's something that this session can help also with, and that's the part of work we're doing now, is to tell our plan. But yeah.
That's really good. I'm sure Victor's typing out right now on the breaking news for everybody to.
I already posted that and pinned that to the top. Yeah, that's all good. Also, another important question to ask, because like I've learned from the previous MS and previous projects launches as well. First of all, will 100% of the tokens that you plan to allocate to the community unlock at the TGE, or what's your thoughts?
That's also part of tokenomics plan that we're doing now. As I mentioned, we have multiple tokenomics now, and some of them with immediate unlock, some of them with partial unlock within time frames. And the idea is that we also want it depends, it doesn't depend on us, because for us, of course, we would like to give everybody everything as soon as possible, but there is such thing as market making, there is such thing as processes and how does it work, and we give it to professionals to advise us how to do it. So I do not actually have a straightforward answer here. But yeah, our current plan is to find a best balance between sharing token as fast as possible and keep its price. And that's the balance that we're looking for.
Okay, well, whenever you're ready, share those details with us. Would love to know. And yeah, I think it's very important to ask for the community to know about the claim at the TG. Do you plan to make it a gasless claim together with the centralized exchanges and, let's say, Telegram wallet, or will people need a little bit of tone for the gas fee?
So that also depends on our agreement with exchanges, because there are many scenarios how we can achieve that. Because I've seen with some exchanges that they have different procedures how to avoid paying gas fee, and that's the way of implementation how we do it. If it's straightforward withdrawal, so that's one question. And probably it will be a fee here if it's a straightforward withdrawal from our app to customer's wallet. But if it's some different procedure how to get your token via exchange to exchange account, it can be completely different. So that's also part of our conversation with exchanges right now, on not only if they're ready to list us, but how we're going to do it and how we're going to implement it.
Okay,
But it's definitely not going to be like a feed that will be shared with the team. It's we all know that blockchain as a system has its own price for using that system. So that's the only idea here. But we're trying to find the ways how to minimize that.
Let's go. Well, whenever you're going to be ready, share with us the updated details on the timeline. We'd love to know. We're going to keep an eye out of for those two announcements later on, once you're going to be ready. But now,
yeah, it's definitely not going to be released on our application with the quote like "Don't tell Victor." So everybody will know probably at the same time.
Let's go. We're looking forward to it. And I think now we could actually get to the question from Zenith. I think it's going to be a great one. And then I will scroll through more questions from the community to ask also what they are curious to ask.
I think, okay, I will ask it again. The question is, what are your plans for after TGE? Any roadmap, anything that you guys are planning? It would be really good to understand that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question. So definitely what we do now is we have multiple ideas what we can do after TGE, but all those ideas depend on how TGE will go. As I mentioned before, our strategy is to use TGE to build trust with our community, to keep it all the same way as it's growing right now. The same has happened to Notcoin. You see, there is a huge difference between Notcoin and other projects, because you see, when Notcoin got listed, they told that, okay, we're going to rebuild it and we're going to give something for stage 2. And a lot of projects share exact plans. But then what happens on TGE? Notcoin was successful on TGE and kept its trust between project and community. And other project just lost trust between with their community. And talking about plans, if Notcoin now will tell exactly what they're going to do, they will have a huge community support, and it doesn't matter what they're going to build. And that's actually our strategy, because if we may tell you something that we're going to build, we may share some ideas, but it's nothing until we know that we will be supported by our community, because it's not going to work without community anyway.
I think that's very, very, very good point, actually. It's very true, to be honest with you. Notcoin hasn't, shared plans exactly what it is that, they're trying to build. They're just building, and things come out, and they get released as things, as they do. They probably can't really comment exactly, and maybe if there is like a new thing released every week or every 2 weeks or something, and every single time they release something, everyone's like, oh, this is great, this is good, because they're supportive. So clearly your focus is on making sure the community is happy, and once after that is finished, you just carry on building on top and keeping the community happy. And that sounds like a really, really good plan to me.
Yeah, that's the other side of that is that it's not necessary that everything that you built in your life will be successful, but having a community that trusts you can allow us also to run some ideas, do some tests, and collect feedback, because that's important, that we can keep this level, as I mentioned, that our life cycle of our application is more like a dialogue between us and community. So when we get the feedback, we can improve something. And if we will go for stage 2, we will continue this dialogue with community to it's not necessary that we as 4 people or how big will be our team know for sure what is the best way within all the aspects. So that's why we'll continue this dialogue with our community further.
Well, let's go. Yeah, I wanted to ask also, how do you take community feedback, where community could contribute with their opinions, with their takes, with their perspective to the teams? Do you have like a chat for them to express themselves, or how do you do it?
Yeah, so basically there are multiple chats that we have. It's like hubs, different languages. We also have some people who voluntarily help us, and basically we have our official support accounts and the main account that a lot of people just write into main account, and they also get a response. It's not necessary that we have only one support account that will reply to people. No, we reply from all our accounts. If you found the main account of founder, I will also reply to everybody. It might be not that fast, but we try to stay in contact with everybody. We have helpers and volunteers in our channels, and that's a huge support for us. And so we would like to tell us when you ask what is the size of our team, and I said that we like 4 people, but I can make it sound very cool and say that we're actually a team of 36 million people.
Fascinating. And thank you for sharing with us once again. I appreciate that. I'm going to be asking you now a lot of questions from the community. And the first one, I remember you mentioned it briefly in the conversation we had today, but Crypto is asking, by the way, shout out to all my reply guys. Thank you for the questions, guys. We got to go through them as of right now. Love you. Thank you for leaving your questions there. So the first one is Crypto is asking to clear the confusion a little bit between 2 coins, which is WCoin and WAI, and how they correlate between each other, which people should focus more. Just provide us a little bit more open outlook on them, if you don't mind.
Sure. That's a great question, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people can have this question when they come to our game, because we actually have like mechanics of 2 web apps within one with the tap to earn and staking, and when an application where you farm WCoin, and one is completely different with different mechanics, but you still connected to the same application. Yes, there is a plan behind it, and you will hear very shortly about this. And it's not that one is important and one is not. As I mentioned before, we measure activity and everything is important, and WI is definitely important, and it will have a direct impact on your airdrop. So one idea of WI was to bring some new fresh mechanics to people that long time with us, or give something to people who cannot spend a lot of time in application tapping, but can constantly enter the application and perform some actions. And that is all you will hear shortly about that. And that's probably going to be merged together. Maybe not in a direct way, but what I can tell is that everything that you can see on our application is important. And as much as you participate in different activities, and it can be simple tasks, it can be tapping, it can be passive income as WAI, it can be campaigns, everything will be important. And there is no case that something that you don't do makes you not eligible for airdrop, but as many activities as you take part in, they increase your airdrop value.
Okay, that was a well-detailed explanation, and I see you crypto even in the request. So hope you bro got your answer, and thank you for providing us more insight onto that W coin. Another question from the community they wanted to ask is that you said that there is going to be 10 daily tasks. Does that mean that they need a minimum of 10 login streaks or not?
So yeah, that's actually that's a nice mechanic that I think we still analyzing that. I'm not sure about like 10 daily tasks because that's probably not something we have right now. We have some tasks that are limited by days. We have some tasks that are like constant, that you get rewards when you come to the application every day. But yeah, what we trying to do is that we try to give our community something to enter the app every day or multiple times a day. So that's the beneficial for everybody, and even WI. That was the idea of that, because you need to come every 8 hours. You need to collect your reward, and that's how your value grows. So that's the idea behind.
Well, let's go. Thank you for sharing once again with us. And I hope, guys, you're taking notes as you've been the ones asking those questions. So I've got a few more. And by the way, really shout out, guys, for dropping your questions here. Also, drop them to the bottom right if you got more while we've been having conversation here. I'm going to scroll through that also a moment later, and we'll see if we could address anything from there as well. But another question was from the mighty BTC. He is asking, isn't compulsory for the TON transaction requested? Will there be any meaningful impact of people doing TON transaction or not inside of the mini app?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. So basically, that's the idea that it can give more value to people. There is definitely no requirement that you have to perform transactions. So basically, the idea is that, in many applications all around the world, even Telegram, you can get yourself premium, or you can do some exceptional action and you get more capabilities within the platform. So, but it's never mandatory for airdrop.
Okay, so yeah, so that gotta be compulsory, but that is not like 100% requirement for people, not to be scared away. Okay, great. So
The idea behind was to also idea behind was how to give people who just joined. There are like when you have 36 million people, that's a lot of people with different capabilities, and some of people would like to, like they alone they with us for a long period of time. Some of people would like to use only some passive income mechanics. Some of the people would like to perform TON transaction and get some impact here. But the idea is, how do we analyze all those people and give everybody fair airdrop? But there is nothing that is mandatory on our platform. Nothing is mandatory. When it will be something mandatory, probably it will be mandatory to connect your wallet to get your airdrop, because we need to know where to send it to. But yeah, there is nothing mandatory. But as much as you participate in different activities, as that's pretty straightforward mechanics in our application. You see that when you did a task, you get plus to your balance. So it's like obvious to tell that as much as you do, you get bigger balance, and definitely it will impact on your result.
Let's go. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I've got a few more questions here. So the community is also asking, will there be a conversion ratio of their token balance, or will that be the amount of tokens that will be getting?
Sure. That's also a great question, because that's the whole idea of analysis we're doing, combining with tokenomics that's going to be finalized. So when we finalize our tokenomics, it means that we know exact number of tokens that we going to provide to our community, and also snapshot as a part of data analysis. So at some point, where it's going to go is to mining stage will stop at some point. The final analysis will be performed on the user's data, and then conversion rate, considering tokenomics, which all going to be public, will appear. So it's not going to be some unexpected number, and we will try that. That's actually a great question, because that's the kind of dialogue that we have. So we know that not only having an airdrop is important, but having but explaining to every user how this airdrop amount was calculated is also important. So that's probably, the simplest is that on withdrawal page, on getting airdrop page, you're going to see not only balance, but the explanation how this balance was made.
Okay, well, let's go. By the way, this is the pretty breaking news. So on the withdrawal page, people will see how the allocation was calculated.
That's actually like an idea that I got right now. There is no straightforward whole the product design in my head right now, but that's what I mentioned before. That's the greatest of collaboration between us and our community. So I never thought about that, but with having such question in the chat, okay, we got a new product idea. So it's not, and we have more clues what our community needs from us.
Let's go. Well, then I'm gonna not put it as a breaking news just yet, but yeah, let us know whenever the time is right, right? Going forward, another person is asking, will there be another snapshot after the first one, or is that going to be the main one?
That's also a good question. It depends on how successful will be our analysis. And it's not about users' performance, but if we see that that will be enough for us to... The idea is to analyze data and get it all to some fair calculation for every user. Currently we do not plan to do any other snapshot, and we think that we will have enough data for analysis, and probably the next stage will be stop of the mining phase and preparation for TGE. But like if we will see the immediate value, and it's not a value for us. As I mentioned, we will have all the allocation possible given to community. So, and if at some point we will need some additional data from our community to make it be calculated the best way, we will be open and honest with our community, and we will also hope for support and understanding from their side. And that's probably how it worked until today.
Okay, great. And thank you for providing us all those insights. Like, I'm still scrolling through Sync if there is anything. Some community members asked for you to check on that there was a period on the game where a lot of people lost their points due to the glitch, and several people mentioned that several community members haven't received theirs ever since. And for you to check on that, if or if you've done so, just passing through the information the community presents. But yeah.
Yeah, so that's also a great question. We constantly in contact with our community members, with our support channels and helpers. Unfortunately, there is such kind of like glitches that can happen, and it's real world. You have all this running on machines that somehow can be overloaded sometimes. But don't worry, we keep chat with everybody from community. If you haven't received, like accidentally you haven't received your payback from the issue that happened, please contact our support or helpers. They will be more than happy to assist you on that, and we are more than interested to return everything. And that's also important if you provide as many details as you can with some proofs, because you also should understand us that we always need to validate that request and not to provide few millions of W coin to everybody. But yes, we actually, I think we've done a lot of returns with our support channels, and that's a common practice for us. So we always put our customers on the first place, because for us it's more beneficial to spend our time but keep you with us instead of having you disappointed and you would leave us.
Yeah, and it's great insights as always. I hope the community is actually also taking notes. And guys, feel free to also clip the moments from the EMEA session today, so we could have them on the timeline, full detailed and elaborated from the team. And also, there is few more community questions. I think after that we could be wrapping up, unless there is going to be anything else you would want personally to share. So one, Angel Poop meme coin asking you if you could share some insights on how did you scale your app to so many users post app launch.
That's a great question, and that's kind of technical. But what I can share with you about some challenges that we had and still have. Every platform that you want your project to be hosted on, they will have their own limits, because they need to test you, and that was a long story of negotiation, and so basically we managed to scale it, and we constantly doing that, and it's a huge like that's a long conversation between us and infrastructure providers, because we always need to show that we will pay our bills also, because we pay for all this application to run every month, and that's a pretty significant amount. So I even have like a fun story with our provider, because the community growing very fast, and I have very fun story when I texted. I've seen that we want to grow. I want to buy more servers to keep it all running fast and smooth for everybody, and I received a notification that we got to a limit. So at some point I started to communicate with support, of our provider and told that, guys, please increase our limits. We're ready to prepay you. We're ready to do everything. And they told us that it's okay. You wait for the end of the month. You pay for your bill. We will analyze that, and then we will increase your limits. And I told, guys, the end of the month will not happen because we have such a huge, rapid growing community. So that's not going to happen if you do not increase it today. So it was like almost 2 weeks of everyday texts and even calls with providers to increase that limit, but it was increased. We had to make some calls. We explained all the idea of the project. We had to explain to people what is Telegram and how all the web application stuff is working, just to get them to understand what we're building. And also, it's very fun to see like technical people that you get a service from, that 1 month you open an account and the second month you ask for limit increase because you have millions of users. But everything is working smooth now. We constantly improving our infrastructure, and there is no way that it can be a glitch or something that we do not track and not to try to improve. So it's always the process, and our technical members of the team constantly working on that, which is also a huge shout out to them for that. And that's the story. And answering question how we managed to do that, it was a lot of work and a lot of conversation, and basically a kind of conversation that, guys, please take our money because we need to provide good service for community.
Let's go. Yeah, so the biggest challenge is scaling. Yeah, I understand that. I heard that a lot. I've heard that people suggest, like pretty much all the projects had to invest into the servers, scalability ahead of time. And now I can see that those challenges reflects, and I think that's going to be the final question from the replies. So my parody account asking, when is the pre-market?
So that's also a good question, and it's going to happen before TGE, probably like 1-2 weeks before TGE. Pre-market is also like an activity that is related to exchanges. So as well as listing, pre-market is something that we need to agree about and agree how do we perform it. Generally, it's around 2 weeks before TGE. When it's finalized and we can actually know date of listing, we will share it as soon as possible because we want everybody to be aware of that. And as soon as we share a date with you and all the details, how it's going to happen and how our agreement's going to work between us and listing. So we will share it with you because then we will have as much time as possible for you to know that when TG is happening, and for us to remind you as many times as possible that that's going to be on that date. But don't worry, we have different agreements now with exchanges, and pre-market also a part of that those agreements, and not only pre-market, many different activities.
All right. Well, that was the last question from me. I want to also circle back to Zenith to see if you got anything to ask. I've asked a lot of questions from the community. I think at this point I've asked everything. Majority of them like repeating themselves. Well, at least in my opinion.
That's because they don't read what everyone else is asking. That's why. But also at the same time, maybe it's probably good to repeat themselves, because if some of them, you might not see all of them anyway. So, it's probably good for someone to ask a couple. But yeah, I mean,
Sure.
all of the questions have most likely been asked, right? So I haven't got anything else to ask you. Honestly, WCoin, you've done an amazing job at answering all the questions. You've shared a lot of really, really cool and useful information with us and the community, and I'm sure that everyone's going to be happy with your TGE, of course, touch wood. I actually have a wooden desk. So, very much looking forward to what you guys have cooked up and what's coming in the future for everyone. And I hope that everybody here is listening too, and I'm sure that they are all excited and they're here. It is quite a large space. There is quite a large number of listeners, and they're all here, to listen to you, which means they believe in you. So fingers crossed for you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here today. Thank you for everybody who joined. Thank you for everybody who answered questions. And that's also important for us, that to listen to your feedback, to listen to your question, understand what is interesting for you, understand what are the main topics that we need to focus on. So let's keep working together this way.
Let's go. And I wanted to ask you, WCoin, if there is anything that maybe we forgot to mention, ask, or that you would want to highlight. Feel free to share with us. And after that, we're going to be wrapping up the room.
Sure. I just wanted to do like a huge shout out to Ton community and like to you guys trying to constantly improve it and bring more people to it. That's definitely, and it's not personally me, but you see the results, and our application is the proof that what you're doing is significant, and what you're doing for Ton is significant, and that's why, as well as we'll listening to our community, you're doing that as well, and that's the feedback that you can see. So huge shout out to you.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And look, I'm just the orange PFP guy. Community just gave me an opportunity to have a voice and influence and ask all those uncomfortable questions to the projects. So I appreciate you for answering them, because they are not necessarily only the ones that I've been wondering around, but what the community have been wondering around, what the community wanted to know and hear. And I think they appreciate you for providing us all more clarity and having this MA together with us. And I appreciate you for joining as well, because a lot of projects are, not always feeling the most comfortable with public speaking when it comes down to discussing their launch, TG, and all the details. So we appreciate you for doing so, and the fact that you handled this pressure very well and provide us great insights as well that have been posted as breaking news. Guys, feel free to fall back on this information and re-listen back to the full MAS session if you missed some part of it. It's been a little over an hour, and WCoin, big thank you. Keep on building. We're going to keep an eye on your updates and wait for the next announcements and the TG and the airdrop. I hope the community stays active, community stays engaged, and I hope your snapshots going to provide you with enough insights also to judge their performance. So with that said, big thank you for joining us today. Zenith, big thank you for hosting the room. And all the community members and all the listeners, thank you for attending. Thank you for asking your questions. Thank you for providing me an opportunity to be the voice that can ask those questions to those projects, and always being here to represent and support us. Thank you, WCoin, and I wish everybody a beautiful, beautiful evening. And until the next one, we got to keep you updated on the timeline. I hope you guys following us, following Ton Society, following me, following Zenith, follow WCoin, and keep an eye on the official updates. Always cross-verify with my page, the official Telegram announcement channel, and X, so that you stay safe and don't click on the random things, because things may happen in the Web3. And thank you, everybody, for your attention. It's a big, big pleasure being here with you. Was Victor, the Orange PFP guy.
Thank you.
I haven't got a soundboard, so I'll just naturally clap my hands. Thank you, guys. It's been great. It's been great. Yeah, there you go. You're going to keep on making more noises on the AMA until somebody makes an audio of it. So there we go. But yeah, as this is a Tom. Perfect. This is a Tom Real talk, guys. We usually do extend. I mean, we could extend it a little bit, but I think I'm about half brain dead. I can carry on. I don't mind. Do you want to carry on a little bit, Victor, or should we call it a night tonight?
No, I gotta go. I need to eat the dinner. It's 10 p.m. my time. I've only eaten the breakfast, been all day on the calls and spaces with you. I think you guys have seen me all the day around, all over the place. So that's the time I go eat some dinner and rest. It's for me, I'll go. But if you want to continue, if you want to stay, maybe it's worth opening another space just because we had an amazing command, so it would be available in full and just on point and on topic. But in case you want to host another space for the community, I think that would be amazing too.
Yeah, all right. I'm probably not going to if you're not going to stay because I would need help hosting it. But it's okay, guys. Sorry, I have been on all the spaces with Victor as well. He's and a lot of meetings, so I'd rather go and eat some food as well because I need some. But yeah, it really has been a really good space. Thank you, WCoin, for coming. And yeah, we'll keep it to WCoin today. We have another space tomorrow, guys. So please do join up. There'll be another Tom Real talk tomorrow. As always, every Friday we will have the spotlight, and also we'll just open up the floor then definitely to talk with all of you. So have a great night, have a great evening. We'll be ending off the space. Have a good one, guys.
Have a good one.
See you later.